you are. I've been waiting for a little while, but I'm glad you're here because I want to show you something that on the last video, if you had a keen eye, you would have noticed. Come along with me and I'll show you. Follow me. Right, this is a silver birch knoll, and in the olden days, even now, they used to make spoons and kukuses out of them, the cups, you know, the wooden cups, kukas, whatever way it's pronounced. So what I thought today, we've got the big guns out today, we're going to try and saw this in half, because it is a huge one, it's a big one. There's quite a few in this woods, and apparently these are caused by a stress or a parasite, or anything that obviously gives it the reason to grow. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and cut into it, and apparently these are supposed to be quite, well, they are quite hard. And we're going to cut it open, and we're going to see if we can use any of it for wood carving later on. So okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just, because it is big and I'm not going to carry the whole lot out, I'm looking at bits I could actually use if it's any good. We won't know till we start cutting into it. But I'm thinking this is quite good. Maybe these two. I don't think I'll bother with this bit. So I'm just going to see, probably cut through there, cut down through there, and see what we got. So. Certainly dense. Oh, it's hard work. Top's got to come off. She's dug in like a tick, as they say. Okay, we're there. It's holding there, isn't it? Yeah? Definitely loose. I don't think this is the best bit, but it will certainly show us what's going on in there. If we're wasting our time, we persevere. the good thing about bushcraft, you don't know till you get in there and have a look. Let's give it another bash. Okay, nice. Wow, that's mullered. Good sign. Wow, if you get in there, look, that's solid, and all this here is rotten. So there's some good wood in there. That is solid. Let's have a look at the other bit. Okay, wow, look at that. That is gorgeous. See the grain on that? That is gorgeous. Solid. I almost thought there was a waste of time. But I think we struck gold. Right, okay, so we managed to get the old cheese wedge out, so to speak. It was hard work, I'm not going to lie. That took a little bit longer than I expected. I think my saw angle was a little bit off. It didn't quite join up. But nevertheless we got it out. But as you can see, this tree has been sitting here quite a while. It's probably dead standing for a while, and then it's fallen over, and it is pretty much well rotting out. I mean, it's not too bad, it's not completely gone. I mean, the birch bark is peeling off. But going back to our Burl here, what's really interesting about this is that this is a fungus that goes through, I believe. I mean, you could quote me different on it, but this is like what a bootlace fungus, and what it's done is, you can see under there, it comes in and attacks the tree normally when it's alive, and it literally, it sits on the Cambrian layer there, which is the live bit of the tree. Obviously this is the hardwood it puts down every year, and obviously this is a Burl, but it's a fascinating how it's just literally, it's eating away at the rotten bit there, because it just can't penetrate this hard bit yet. So what it does, as it rots, it penetrates it even more, and literally is eating it up. But you can see under there, it's all under. We're going to knock it off with axe in a minute and just have a look. But this is, you know, this is the prize here, obviously. I mean, look at that grain. I know it's a little bit damp, but even so, that's pretty good. I mean, it's going to make some interesting stuff later on when we get to it. But I'm just out here harvesting it before somebody else does, even though I'm pretty sure nobody else knows it's here. But it's just good to go and get it. But look at that, that's just gorgeous. It's almost like bird's eye maple, but obviously not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start cleaning this dead bark off, and there's more of that honey fungus there. Look. What's really fascinating about this stuff is that in certain parts of the, or certain times of the year, or at different stages that this gets to, it actually glows in the dark. It's quite fascinating. It's very slightly luminous, but it's pretty cool nevertheless. I don't know what stage that would be. It could be with this stage. Be interesting just to sort of see what happens at night with it. But anyway, I'm not worried about that now. But you can see it's all under there, and we're just going to pull that off. We don't need that. You can see, look, it's infested it all the way through. But anyway, let's just try and get some of this bark off. But first, I'm just going to put that aside, and I want to look at this bit, because obviously this is just too much to carry out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to harvest it, and then I'm just going to stick it up in the tree there, and then come back for it at a later date, hoping that no one else has harvested it themselves. But you can see this is all rotten here, but it's just still solid underneath, because believe it or not, these burls are rock hard. It's a deformity obviously in the tree, the way that it grows, because all these lines here are more than likely little shoots that used to come out. You used to get hundreds of them. But anyway, we're just going to take our axe, and at the back of our axe we're just going to literally start knocking this crap off, because I don't want to carry that out. So I'm just gonna literally take all the dead stuff off now. And see, look, it's everywhere. I mean, a lot of this is rotten, but that doesn't matter because I'm interested in that. I mean, it's interesting shapes. I mean, this is interesting wood to work with. Wow, look at that. Some sort of centipede or such. Sorry matey, but you gotta go. Take them off. It's mine. My precious. Okay. That's quite solid. Okay, so all this. I mean, when it starts to dry, a lot of this will just sort of crumble away anyway. But look at this, it's just everywhere. You can see why they call it bootlace fungus. It's probably in the wood itself. But this bit here looks quite interesting because it's almost like a square bit. So let's just, I've got a little chopping block up here. Let's go and have a little play with this. Okay. This is the hatchet, obviously, that woodland hatchet or wildlife hatchet. That I did the handle on. Look at that grain. Sweet. Right. So I'm just gonna make sure, obviously stating the obvious, this is not an axe course, but I'm just gonna chip away at this. I certainly don't want to be carrying this out. Just keep going away till you hit hard wood. I mean, look, that is rotten. It's pretty good. Okay, let's get this bit off here. See, that's solid. Missed the axe heads there, not into my legs. I mean, some people prefer to kneel. I think there's a lot of common sense when you're using axes. You obviously got to think about how hard you're hitting it, and if you miss, where's it going to go? Obviously there's a lot of good videos out there that shows axe work, and maybe in the future we'll get to it as well, but for now this isn't an axe video. I'm just trying to chip this away here. As you can see, I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to carry this wet soaking wood out because it's going to be a lot lighter. I can get rid of this crap, and it gives me an idea what's usable and what's not. It's a bit tricky now, this bit here is a bit tricky. I'll try and get rid of all that bootlace stuff. Okay, that's not bad. There's still a few rotten bits in there like there, which I think we can just get rid of. I mean, if you've ever seen spalted woods, which is the woods where the fungus goes in and it turns it black, I mean, sometimes when you're trying to harvest that, it is completely rotten, and sometimes you'll find a lovely solid bit in the middle. But you could literally start out with a big bit of wood like that and end up with a spoon that size, because the wood is completely rubbish. But if you wanted that spalted look, you've got to unfortunately sacrifice, and that's just the way it goes. But when you work with woods, you sort of you pick that up. See that black in there, it's quite nice. Let's get rid of this. I mean, more than likely I probably won't use this bit. Saying that, it doesn't look too bad. I'll see how it looks later. I mean, this stuff's quite soft, so I really want the hard stuff. Yeah, that's probably not very usable. But I mean, this is what I'm after. This stuff here, this stuff on the edge. It's probably, I mean, I'm probably better off sawing that than sawing that off, and then just keeping this middle bit here, because I mean, you can tell that this is still sodden, and I think for carving purposes it's probably too soft, too far gone, when the axe is just making light work of it. And by removing this wetwood, obviously makes it light, and it's better quicker for drying. Not that I want to completely dry it out, because I don't want to dry it out too quick, or is it a split? And I don't want that. Okay, this is probably about as far as I want to go. Maybe take these bits off. It's a good thing about this sort of stuff, you never know what you're going to get until you get in there. Let's have a look at this one. That's quite solid actually. I might keep that bit, might be able to get a spoon out of that. There's still some rotten bits there. Right, that is probably it. That is not bad. You can get a cup out of that. Definitely some spoons. Funny shape, I know, but that's the great thing about working with wood. It's the challenge. So that's one bit. That's going to go home with me today, along with another piece. And then, like I say, we'll harvest the other bit. We'll hide them up in the tree, and then come back from it at a later date. I don't think it's going to be too bad. So let's go harvest some more. Wow, that's huge. It's massive. There's loads of wood here. This, I mean, this gives it to scale how much is here. All I'm going to do is cut down there with the bow saw and take this bit today, and then this bit here, I mean, it's huge. I mean, this is obviously part of the log as well. The actual main part of the log is here, look, right through there. So it's incorporated. This whole thing goes right through to the core, which is amazing. So I'm going to saw that down there. I'm going to take that out, and then we're going to probably take some of this away and saw that. It'd be nice to have 3 bits today and just leave some here, like, so we almost like take half of it. But as you can see, a lot of this is waste, because look, you can see that there. Look, there's all rubbish. But it's interesting just digging away, because you really are finding some incredible pieces of wood there to work with. Right, okay, stick my axe down. Sweet. Look at that, that's mad. Mad grain. It's all over the place. Okay, let's clean this up and then review the next piece. Right, so what I'm trying to do then is the back of the axe is really is amazing. You can literally knock a lot of this dead stuff off just with the back of the axe, and it sometimes is a lot quicker. But for anybody that's interested, that's hitting the back of my arm like that, so that's like a lock. So when I hit down, that's about as far as it goes. So it's not going to go whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. So it's just literally knocking on the back of my arm like that. It's just locking. But you could almost do that for the same motion as that. We saved that for another course, but just for anybody that's interested. So I really want to get these rotten bits out if I can. There's not a lot done on this one. It's a huge lump. I mean, that could have gone either way when we started sawing that. It could have been completely rotten inside and we were just wasting our time, and that inevitably sometimes happens. But I mean, today we have struck lucky in the respect that we're getting some really interesting grains, and I know this stuff is sometimes quite difficult to work because as it dries, say you're carving a cup or Kuksa, tends what happens is when you start scooping the bowl out with your crook knife or your spoon knife or whatever you want to call it, sometimes, because it's grown funny, when it dries, the shape changes slightly. So what could be a perfect shape for a cup, as it dries it can sometimes alter, because the stress is in the wood. As it dries it can alter, and that sometimes can give it quite a unique characteristic. But I mean, this here, that's good enough to carve. I mean, the fact that we're only harvesting it today for future projects. But what I normally do is I store them in plastic bags, because I don't want this to dry out too quick. I don't want it to crack. So what I'll do is I will keep that in a carrier bag somewhere cool, and then what I do is I just undo the carrier bag every now and again, because I don't want it to go mildewy, even though that's quite a possibility because we're in the UK and it's always wet. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to have a look at that, because I know there's a lot of good wood still there. So I'm going to go and have a look and see what I can harvest. But at the moment I've got 2 chunks, and that's going to be quite heavy carrying it out anyway, because it is wet and it is obviously full of water, not soaking, but that's still good. So I'm going to see what I can do with that, and then as we go, there's a tree behind us there if you want to have a look here. What I might do, find a tree similar to this and just stick it up in there so it's off the ground, and then over the next couple of weeks I can come back and just harvest a bit, Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some silver birch bark on the top, so if it does rain, hopefully it just acts as like a roof, and then it just stops it, because obviously now we've exposed it, it might ruin it, but then there's a good chance that because it's open it could also dry and crack. So horses for courses really, so we'll see as we go. But let's go and have a look, see what we got. Okay, so as you can see, we have only just cut a small piece of this off. What I'll probably do is have a think. Okay, so believe it or not, I've managed to bow saw that in half, which I'm not going to lie again, was hard work. But the rewards look like they outweigh the hard work. But looking at the grain here, I'm trying to decide whether I want to work on A or B, or A or B, whatever. So I'm liking this here because the grain looks awesome. But that there is the main piece of the wood, because it sort of went through at an angle. So if I can save this bit here, I might be able to do so. But what I'm doing is I'm just chopping off this dead stuff here, so I can sort of decide what I want to do. I mean, there's a lot of wood here, and I'm not going to be able to carry it all out, or stating the obvious. I mean, how rotten is it? Is it worth it? I think it is. It's just very wet, and I mean that's solid. So I'm just spinning around, trying to cut some of this off. See the tree there? Look. It's funny because it's like taking probably at least a couple of hours to chop this thing up. With a chainsaw it would have been minutes. It's amazing how much efficient a chainsaw is if you've got one. I mean, for a little forest hatchet, it's not bad. I mean, it works pretty well. I'm quite impressed with it. I haven't really had much chance to use it. I've normally stuck to the small forest axe, which seems to have done all the main stuff in my bushcraft career, so to speak. It's nice to use something different, but this is a very effective axe. Like I say, I have used one to carve spoons, but not on this scale. I mean, it's done pretty well considering. Dig this bit out. Right, I'm pretty well finished for the day now. It's starting to turn dark, and this is probably taken, I reckon, at least 2 to 3 hours just to cut this up with a bow saw. It has been hard work, but I mean, look at that. That is gorgeous. So the rewards are pretty good. I mean, they're well worth it. I mean, that's got lovely grain on there. So I've got 3 pieces here. I've already cut 2 pieces off, so I'm going to try and take 4 pieces away with me today, and then I'm going to put that in a tree, and hopefully nobody helps himself to it. I'm sure they won't. So that really concludes the video today. So until next time, get out there, do some bushcraft, and I'll see you soon. Thanks very much.